Oakland Raiders appear poised to finally make the playoffs once again in 2016. Can they really do it? We're about to find out. You're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. MJ Take here on Sports Fan Entertainment. It's time to continue the 32 teams in 32 days series here on this channel, here on Sports Fan Entertainment at 7 p.m. Central, 8 o'clock Eastern every single day. We're doing this. We've been doing it for a week now. Y'all thought I was kidding, but I'm committed to doing it. I'm having fun doing it, and I'm going to have some fun today because the past couple videos, some fans haven't been very happy with what I've had to say, but I'm sure Raider fans, for once, will actually agree with me and say that this is a good football team we're looking at. I'm going to go through their strengths, their weaknesses. We're going to go through the schedule. I'll give you my win-loss prediction, and then we'll get the hell out of here. What do you say? Let's start with their biggest strength to me, their offensive line. This has the potential to be the best offensive line in the league, depending on a couple factors. Number one, can Kelechi Osemele transition from Baltimore to Oakland seamlessly? Because he was great for Baltimore. I thought he was their best offensive lineman right next to Marshall Yanda. Those two were butting heads, but I thought he was the best among them. Okay, great. But now can he transition? As a free agent, can you transition from one team to another and remain successful in a different scheme? Because he's played with the Ravens for so many years now, hasn't really been to another NFL team. So now going to the Raiders, can he transition? I believe he will. And you look at the other positions, they're stacked right now. Donald Penn on the left side. You have Austin Howard on the right side. And, I mean, you have a guy in Menelik Watson who I think could start in this league who's a backup reserve. So if either one of those guys gets injured, you have a guy that's capable of coming in and playing well in Menelik Watson. So Austin Howard on the right side. You have Gabe Jackson who's moving to right guard. He's been fantastic at left guard, now moving on to right guard. That could even be better for him because he's so strong and powerful in the run game. And then left guard, as we already talked about, Kelechi Osemele. And in the center, Rodney Hudson. I mean, the guy been consistent for so many years. Thank God you guys swooned him from Kansas City because the guy's been great. The 5 positions, good throughout. No questions there, no problems there. The one question would be outside of possibly Kelechi Osemele, no elite guys, so I don't think you'd be able to quite compete against the Cowboys offensive line in terms of being the best offensive line in the league. But if the Cowboys get some injuries on their offensive line, you can end up having the best offensive line in the league. So just look out for that, but it's a great offensive line. I mean, there's no doubting that it is a great offensive line. We move on to the next strength to me, and that is the front 5, I call them. And when I call them the front 5, I'm talking about the edge rushers and the defensive line, because I can't include the inside linebackers on this one. So let's talk about the front 5, and that would be the edge rushers, Khalil Mack on one side. I mean, the guy is absolutely tremendous. I mean, the guy is such a beast, and I knew he was going to be a beast. You knew he was going to be a beast. Everyone could see it. If you couldn't see it, you need to put on your glasses when you're looking at the film. The guy was dominant at U Buffalo. Yeah, it was U Buffalo, but boy, he was out of everyone's league. He came into this league, and he's still out of everyone's league. And we're talking about Von Miller and how great he is, and he's great. I think Khalil Mack is better, and we're going to see him take another step this year, be even more dominant. The guy is just a force to be reckoned with, and when the Raiders start to contend for Super Bowls, this is going to be one of the biggest reasons why people can jump on this team and have, success and faith and confidence with this team, because they have such a dominant defender like Khalil Mack that can change the game on any given play, rushing the quarterback, stopping the run. Perfect, almost an absolute perfect prototypical 3-4 outside edge rusher. The guy is fantastic. You also have Bruce Irvin, who you signed over from the Seattle Seahawks. He'll be in a different role than he's been in a little bit. This is a 3-4 defense. He's going to be dropping back in coverage, though, like he was in Seattle, but he'll be edge rushing more. So I'll be interested to see how that works out, but I think he's very capable. Dan Williams, I'm very disappointed. Apparently he showed up to training camp out of shape, to mini camp out of shape, and now he's behind Justin Ellis on that defensive line. Really disappointed because Dan Williams was tremendous against the run last year, and while Justin Ellis can start and be okay and be pretty good, man, Dan Williams is dominant against the run. So that's a little bit of a minus for me, but still serviceable starters on that defensive line. Justin Ellis, you have Mario Edwards Jr., who you drafted last year. He should even take another step this year. Josh Autry on one side as well. The front five is pretty stacked. They get after the pass rusher. They stop the run, and that's going to be a very integral part of this defense. Believe you me. We move on to the next strength to me. This is the last one, though, and that would be their quarterback, Derek Carr. I mean, the guy, he's tremendous. And I did have faith in Derek Carr. Back in 2014, I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, by the way, I wanted us to take him with the 11th overall pick in the draft. At the time, he had Jake Locker, and I said, Derek Carr is better than Jake Locker. I want Derek Carr. Because I saw the potential there. The problem was he was inaccurate. He had footwork issues. But I said, this guy's a leader. This guy knows how to work hard. This guy knows how to lead his team to the promised land. I saw so many absolute pin-perfect quarterback intangibles that I said I'm willing to take a chance on this guy, because even if he ends up not being very good, I know that he can will our team into victory in the fourth quarter, and he's been even better than that, especially early on. I mean, this guy's just a great quarterback right now. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now, and let's see if he can continue to do it. I think he can, and this is with wide receivers that I think are average. I mean, I in terms of, conglomerately speaking, because Amari Cooper is really good. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, is his weapons so much better than any average team in the NFL? No, he has average weapons. He has one good wide receiver, a decent number 2, and a decent number 3. There's no, two great wide receivers and a great tight end or anything like that. He has decent weapons, and he really makes the most of these weapons to me. It's the offensive line that really helps him out more than anything, I think. So, Derek Carr, last strength for me. There are some positions that could be strengths. I didn't put wide receiver only for a couple reasons. Okay, Amari Cooper dropped too many balls last year for my liking. While he was very good, still dropped too many balls. You need to be more consistent. You saw the explosive plays, though, man. The guy was making explosive plays. The guy is just too fast, too athletic for a lot of these corners in the NFL right now, and he's still entering his athletic prime. Y'all need to look out. On the other side, Michael Crabtree had a very nice year last year, but I question if that was a little bit of fool's gold, because he really wasn't that guy before last year, except for that one 2014, maybe 2013 year. So, I'm a little iffy on Michael Crabtree. Are we going to get that same guy? I doubt it. I think he's going to take a step back this year while Amari Cooper takes a step forward. And then we have Seth Roberts in that slot position. Okay, he's a really good slot receiver, one of the better slot receivers in the league. But then beyond those three, I don't think you have anything right now. I think Andre Holmes isn't very good. And then your fifth and sixth wide receivers, I don't know who they are. So there's huge questions for me in terms of depth at this wide receiver position, so I couldn't name it as a strength. Same goes for the cornerbacks in the secondary. We have David Amerson, who you signed to a 4-year, $38 million deal. Now, he played really well last year, kind of like Michael Crabtree. But kind of like Michael Crabtree, I'm wondering, was it fool's gold, or are you really that good? Now, I'm more willing to buy David Amerson, though, because I really saw him really take a big step up, and I don't think you can fake that for 1 year. I think he just finally put it together, because it's not like with Crabtree, we see him have good seasons, then bad season, then good season again. David Amerson, it was just bad season, oh, better, great, right? So I can buy into this progression more than this one. So that's why I'm more willing to buy into David Amerson. But then on the other side, you have Sean Smith. And I want to like Sean Smith. I want to say he was a good signing for you. But man, these Kansas City Chief corners haven't been leaving and doing very well. Y'all remember Brandon Flowers? That used to play for them. Used to be pretty freaking good, right? Went to San Diego, was good for 1 year, and then really, his play diminished over the past last year. I mean, so with these free agents, you have to be a little cautious, wait a minute and see. That's why I said with the Kelechi Assembly too, I'm going to wait and see before we just admit that, or before we just chalk it up saying, okay, yeah, that position's filled, it's good, we're fine, whatever. Let's hold on. And then the depth at the cornerback position, don't really love that either. Don't think DJ Hayden is very good. TJ Carey and Keith McGill, and don't really buy into a lot of these guys. So The depth also not really there. Not a number one corner to me. David Amerson, he's a decent guy, definitely a number 2 guy, but a number 1 shutdown corner, not sure Sean Smith should be. But we have to see on that. So, a little bit of questions for me, but it should be good. And then the safeties, Reggie Nelson, okay, another free agent, should be good, but we'll see. Getting a little old. And also, you could make an argument he was getting a lot of those interceptions because the front 5 was so good. But luckily for him, this Raiders front 5 is also good. So he should also have success here. Karl Joseph. I wasn't the biggest fan of Karl Joseph coming out. I think he has some issues, but hey, I think he's going to be a decent starter, especially around all of these veterans on defense right next to Reggie Nelson. That's going to help a lot. So he should be good, but we'll see. Weaknesses, inside linebackers. I mean, right now you're talking about Ben Heaney. Not very good. I know you guys like him because he's tough, he's scrappy, he was unheralded coming out, he works hard, he looks good in the interviews, he sounds good in the interviews, he says everything you wanted him to say, but I don't think he's very talented. And then right next to him, Malcolm Smith. Yeah, he's a former Super Bowl MVP, but I was pretty disappointed with him last year. Not as good as I expected him to be against the run. That needs to improve. So the inside linebackers, to me, is a weak position. And then it's weak on this team, but I wouldn't say it's a weakness in the NFL overall, and that would be the running back position. Latavius Murray is okay. Okay, I'm not saying that he's a bad player, but I question if he's going to be that Super Bowl running back for you. And if next year in the 2017 draft, when you have 10 running backs that are going to be drafted in the first 3 rounds, maybe even 12, if you don't take one, because I heard little rumblings of Ezekiel Elliott piquing your guys' interest and some free agent running backs piquing your guys' interest. So I question if next year you guys won't take a running back, because you're seeing what I'm seeing, and that is Latavius Murray, only 4 yards per carry this season. That's not very good at all. That's very average in the NFL. And if you want a little more explosiveness, you're going to have to go elsewhere. So although I think he's fine, like he'd start for plenty of teams in the league, I think there's some question there. And then tight end, I don't love it right now. Clive Walford, he still needs to improve. Michael Rivera, he's peaked at this point. He doesn't look like he's getting any better. So the tight end position can also improve at this point. But still, I mean, those are not bad weaknesses to have, because, I mean, really, there's a lot of teams in the NFL that have worse running backs than you and worse tight ends than you. I know that for sure. Even worse inside linebackers than you. So with that said, I like the roster a lot. Let's look at the schedule. And I think it's a pretty tough schedule. It really just depends with how good are y'all really. Because we can look at the roster and we can say, oh, look at this, they're good, let's move on. But you're progressing and you're trying to become that playoff team. And breaking past that barrier can be a little tough. And seeing throughout the entire season, last season, there were games that y'all should have won, like against the Broncos, where you guys just couldn't close in the fourth quarter against these veteran teams. Can you finally get over that hump? We'll see. Let's look at the schedule. So you guys go up against the NFC South. The first 2 games are at New Orleans and versus Atlanta. And then later on in the season, you guys host Carolina. You guys go to Tampa Bay. And these are tough games. Luckily for you, you host Atlanta. I say that's a win. I think hosting Carolina, you guys could really upset there, but I'm going to go conservative. I'm going to say that's an L. And then at New Orleans and at Tampa Bay, I think one of those teams is going to trip you up. And I say you split there. So what is that? That'd be 2-2 against the NFC South. You guys go up against the AFC South, and this is when you're really going to get rolling, because I think you guys are just better than every team in the AFC South. You go to Tennessee, you go to Jacksonville, you host Indianapolis, and you host Houston. You could go 4-0 against the AFC South, but I'm going to go a little conservative, just a little bit, and say you go 3-1, because maybe for some reason you just don't show up against the Titans, Jags, Colts, or Texans. Just one of those games you don't show up. I don't know why, but hey, it could happen, so I'm just going to account for that. You're still in the AFC West, so in that division, I think you might go 3-3 with a potential 4-2. I think the Broncos, whether they're going to take a step back, they're still going to be tough, especially defensively, and I think it's matched up against your guys' offense. I think they really give you guys quite a bit of troubles there. So I think an upset could happen there. So I say 3-3 or 4-2 against the AFC West. And then you guys also go up against the, I believe, third or second place teams in the AFC North and the AFC East. And that would be the Buffalo Bills. And that would be who's from the AFC North you guys go up against? I can't find them. Where are you? Baltimore Ravens in week 4. There they are. So those two, I think you could go 2-0, but I'm going to go conservative. I'm going to say split again. So I think you guys are going to go 10-6. Okay, that's my prediction right now. I think 10-6 is a good, safe, sound prediction. But the best case scenario, the Raiders are here, baby. And they're once again playoff contenders, Super Bowl contenders. And I think they could go 12-4. But this requires everything to get going, to get popping, for the chemistry to be on point between Carr and Cooper, and for Derek Carr to throw 35 touchdowns, which he has the potential to do. 35, 40 touchdowns. Amari Cooper to get 1,400 yards. Khalil Mack to win Defensive Player of the Year. But all these things, while they may seem a little unlikely, they're still very possible, and I'm going to account for that. Best case scenario is 12-4. Worst case scenario, to me, 8-8. Because you will improve upon last year. The schedule, though, I think is a little tougher than last year, so that improvement may only be one win. But I really don't see that worst case scenario happening. I think you guys are going to be 10-6. Probably 9-7 is the real worst case scenario. So, F it. Let's just say 9-7. That's the worst case scenario, because honestly, you guys just added way too much talent this offseason. The progression of Derek Carr and Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack is too strong. If you're healthy, you should win at least 9 games. And I think even if you win 9 games, you'll make the wild card. Because I think there's only one other wild card team in the AFC, and that is the loser of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Ravens aren't playoff team yet. I think that your own Chargers, your divisional rivals, the Chargers, aren't ready yet. I think the Bills and Jets schedule are too difficult for that. I think no one in the AFC South. I think you guys are going to make the wild card. So even if you lose the division, I think you're going to make the wild card. Right now, I'm going to tell you right now, I have the Chiefs very close to you guys. And I don't know. If you ask me who's going to win the division, I don't know right now. I need to figure that out. I think health will probably determine that final outcome. But I'll just say I'm giving it to you guys, because why not? So there you go. There's my Chiefs. No, not my Chiefs. That's my Raiders 2016 NFL season preview. What do you think about the Oakland Raiders upcoming season? Are they going to make the playoffs? Are they going to win the Super Bowl? Some people seem to think so. Not yet, but I'll tell you this. I think Super Bowls might be coming, because, man, when you have a trio like Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, and Khalil Mack, elite talent, boy, oh boy, things are going to end up being real good for you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.